Imagine standing in the moonlit cloisters of Windsor Castle, the year fading into the mist of time, the air thick with the weight of centuries. The castle's stone walls, weathered by nearly a millennium, loom around you, their shadows twisting like secrets kept too long. This is no ordinary night. You're not here for tales of banquets or queens, but for a story that sends chills through even the bravest souls who walk these halls. Beneath the grandeur, Stuart, with his booming voice, a ghostly echo that still haunts Windsor Castle. This is the tale of King Henry VIII, whose restless spirit is said to roam these corridors, his presence marked by thunderous footsteps, anguished roars, and a legacy of guilt that refuses to rest. Settle in, because tonight I'll take you deep into the heart of Windsor, where the past is never truly gone, and the ghost of a king demands to be heard. The year is 1536, and Windsor Castle is a fortress of power, its towers casting long shadows over the Thames. King Henry VIII, a giant of a man with a temper to match, strides through its halls, his laughter and rage filling the air. Windsor is his playground, a place for hunting, feasting, and ruling with an iron fist. Here, in the opulent state apartments, he weds Anne Boleyn, his second wife, in a secret ceremony that sparks a storm of scandal. Here, too, he broods in the Dean's cloister, plotting the fates of those who defy him. His reign is a whirlwind of ambition and destruction. 6 wives, 2 beheaded, a church torn from Rome, and a kingdom reshaped by his will. But power comes at a cost, and Henry's choices leave scars, not just on England, but on his soul. By the time he dies in 1547, his legacy is a tapestry of triumphs and tragedies, and Windsor Castle, his favored retreat, becomes the stage for a haunting that endures for centuries. Picture the castle at midnight, its grandeur hushed under a starless sky. The servants, those unseen hands who keep Windsor's fires burning, whisper of strange happenings in the Dean's cloister, a narrow, stone-lined passage where Henry once paced, his heavy boots echoing like thunder. They say his ghost never left, his massive frame still stalking the corridors, his voice a low growl that sends shivers down spines. The first whispers of his presence begin shortly after his death. A guard, patrolling the cloisters in 1550, swears he heard a bellowing shout, "Where is she?" The same words Henry roared when seeking Anne Boleyn's fate. The guard's torch flickered, the air turned cold, and he fled, his story spreading like wildfire among the staff. By the 1600s, the tale grows. A cook sees a hulking figure in a fur-lined cloak, his face red with rage, storming through a locked gate. She drops her ladle and runs, vowing never to work the night shift again. The servants' fear isn't just superstition. Windsor's history is steeped in blood and betrayal, and Henry's reign is its darkest chapter. In St. George's Chapel, where he lies buried beside his third wife, Jane Seymour, the air feels heavy, as if his regrets linger. He ordered the executions of Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard, both accused of treason in these very walls. Their fates were sealed in Windsor's chambers, where Henry's advisors whispered of infidelity and plots. Anne's final days were spent in the Tower of London, but her shadow clings to Windsor, where their marriage began. Some say Henry's ghost searches for her, his shouts a mix of fury and remorse. Others believe he's bound by guilt, unable to escape the weight of his decisions, dissolving monasteries, defying the Pope, and tearing apart lives to secure a male heir. The castle's lower halls, where servants toil, buzz with tales of Henry's ghost. A stable boy in the 1580s, mucking out stalls, hears boots stomping in the empty courtyard, each step shaking the ground. He peers out, seeing nothing but feeling a presence so fierce he hides in a hayloft until dawn. A century later, a chambermaid cleaning the state apartments finds a goblet overturned, its wine staining the floor, though no one was near. She whispers to her friends of a great beast in the shadows, his eyes blazing like the fires of his temper. These stories aren't mere gossip. They shape the servants' lives, making them wary of dark corners and late hours. The castle's very stones seem to pulse with Henry's unrest, as if he's still demanding loyalty from a court long gone. But it's not just the servants who sense him. Nobles visiting Windsor in the 1700s report unease in the Dean's Cloister, where the air grows thick and their candles snuff out without cause. One lord, a skeptic, laughed off the tales until he felt a heavy hand on his shoulder, turning to find no one there. His journal, found years later, describes a roaring voice that woke him at night, shouting words he couldn't decipher. The castle's records, meticulous about royal visits, are silent on these encounters, as if the court prefers to forget its haunted king. Yet the stories persist, passed from generation to generation, each one adding to the legend of Henry's eternal vigil. The castle's layout doesn't help. Its maze of corridors, secret passages, and hidden staircases feels designed to trap spirits. The Dean's Cloister, with its arched ceilings and cold stone, is said to be Henry's favorite haunt. Servants avoid it after dusk, claiming the shadows move, stretching into the shape of a broad-shouldered man with a jeweled cap. One tale from 1620 tells of a young page who dared to sleep there on a bet. He woke screaming, claiming a giant figure loomed over him, bellowing, "A traitor!" The boy fled Windsor, never to return. Even the royals, accustomed to pomp, tread lightly here. A Stuart prince visiting in the 1680s heard a voice demand, "Where is my son?" A reference perhaps to Edward VI, Henry's long-awaited heir, who died young. The servants, whose lives revolve around Windsor's demands, weave their own theories. Old Joan, a washerwoman who's seen decades of the castle's secrets, swears Henry's ghost is cursed, bound to atone for his sins. She tells of a night in 1603 when she saw him in the great kitchen, his silhouette filling the doorway as pots clattered to the floor. "He seeks forgiveness," she whispers, "but the castle won't let him go." Her tales spread, and soon every creak, every gust of wind is blamed on the king. A baker in the 1720s finds flour scattered in the shape of a crown, as if Henry's spirit demands tribute. A gardener, pruning in the long walk, hears a bellow from the empty path, his shears falling from trembling hands. The castle's darkness isn't just Henry's doing. Windsor is a tapestry of lost souls, servants, knights, even queens, who left their mark. Anne Boleyn's ghost is said to drift through the cloisters, her head held high despite her fate. But Henry's presence overshadows them all, his larger-than-life persona etched into the castle's bones. In 1804, a visiting scholar, researching Henry's reign, spends a night in the state apartments. He wakes to find his papers scattered, a single word scrawled in ink, "Obey." He leaves Windsor the next day, his research abandoned. The castle staff, hardened by years of service, take such events in stride, but they never linger in the cloisters alone. By the 19th century, Windsor's haunted reputation is a draw for the curious. Queen Victoria, who loves the castle's history, hears the tales but dismisses them as fancy. Yet, during a quiet evening in 1860, she admits to her diary feeling a great unease in St. George's Chapel, where Henry's tomb lies. Her guards, less skeptical, report footsteps echoing in the empty nave, heavy and deliberate, like a king on the march. The chapel, with its soaring arches and stained glass, is a place of reverence, but at night it belongs to Henry. A choir boy in the 1880s, practicing late, hears a roar that shakes the pews, fleeing to the safety of the town. His story becomes legend, retold in Berkshire pubs over pints of ale. The 20th century brings new eyes to Windsor's ghosts. Paranormal investigators, armed with notebooks and candles, flock to the castle, though strict access limits their hunts. In 1927, a researcher spends a night in the Dean's Cloister, reporting a thunderous presence that moves through walls. His photographs, developed later, show a faint blur, like a man in a doublet, striding toward the camera. The royal family, ever discreet, avoids comment, but staff whisper of modern encounters. A cleaner in the 1950s sees a bearded figure in the long gallery, his cloak sweeping the floor. She quits the next day, her story joining the castle's lore. Even today, Windsor staff feel Henry's weight. A guard in 1998, patrolling the cloisters, hears a bellow that stopped his heart. The word "Anne" clear as day. He retires early, unable to shake the sound. Tourists, drawn by the castle's grandeur, sense something too. A visitor in 2010, exploring St. George's Chapel, feels a push, though no one is near. Her camera captures a shadow, broad and menacing, that vanishes when viewed again. The castle's gift shop sells books on Henry's ghost, and tour guides, with a wink, point to the cloisters, daring guests to linger after dark. The stories never fade, each one adding to the myth of a king too restless to rest. What drives Henry's spirit? Some say it's guilt. His marriages, his executions, his break with Rome weigh heavy. Others believe he's trapped by pride, refusing to yield his kingdom even in death. A 17th-century priest claimed Henry's soul is bound to Windsor by a pact made in life, a vow to rule forever. The castle's tunnels, winding beneath the round tower, are said to amplify his presence, their echoes carrying his voice. A groundskeeper in the 1840s repairing a tunnel finds a rusted sword, its hilt marked with a Tudor rose. He buries it, fearing it's tied to the king's unrest. For the royals, Henry's ghost is a complex legacy. Queen Elizabeth, visiting Windsor in the 1980s, jokes about meeting her ancestor, but her smile falters in the cloisters. The current monarchy, secure in its power, embraces the tales as part of Windsor's allure. Yet, guards avoid certain halls at night. The castle's visitors, over 1 million each year, walk where Henry walked, unaware of the eyes that might follow. The long walk, the cloisters, the chapel, all pulse with his presence, a king who shaped England and refuses to leave it. As our tale ends, imagine yourself back in the cloisters, the night pressing close. The air grows heavy, the silence broken by a distant thud, like boots on stone. Is it Henry, still searching for his wives, his son, his legacy? Or is it just the castle, breathing with the weight of its past? The question lingers, as does the chill in your bones. Subscribe to our channel, because tomorrow we'll unravel another Windsor mystery, perhaps a lost treasure or a forgotten soul. Leave a comment. Would you face Henry's ghost in these haunted halls? Share this story with anyone who craves a tale that grips the heart, and let's keep Windsor's secrets alive. Until next time, listen for the echoes. They might be calling your name.